Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett. According to Wikipedia, the story of Rhodopis, recounted by the Greek geographer Strabo sometime between 7 BC and 23 AD, was about a Greek slave girl who marries the king of Egypt. It's usually considered to be the earliest known variant of the Cinderella story. The version we all know, of course, is attributed to the brothers Grimm in their folktale collection of Grimm's Fairy Tales, which was published in 1812. But next on Our Time, we'll meet a modern-day real Cinderella. Our special guest is Talia Monahan, who is actually playing Cinderella in a brand new show. Actually, it's not new, is it? Because you've done it before.
I have done it before.
Talia, welcome to Our Time, anyway.
Thank you.
Now, I remember you saying to me that you saw Cinderella when you were just a little girl, this production actually.
Yes.
And thought?
I want to be in that show. It was...
How old were you then?
I reckon I was around 10.
Right.
And 10 years later I get to play Cinderella.
It's brilliant.
And then another 10 years later I get to play her again.
Does that mean you're 20? But your life isn't just been about playing Cinderella, because you've been dancing and singing and acting your entire life.
Yes, I have.
When did you start?
I started with calisthenics to begin with, and then...
Was that good training?
Yes, it was actually.
Was it the discipline of that, or...?
It was the discipline and the flexibility and the coordination that I learnt at a young age, and rhythm. And then
How old were you?
I started when I was 3.
3, okay.
Yes, and then I went to an open call audition for The Sound of Music, and I managed to land the role of Marta, which was so exciting.
And this was in the touring Australian production?
Yeah.
Who starred in that, do you remember?
Rachel Beck and Rob Guest.
Right.
Bert Newton as well was in there.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience.
So with that, you would have done sort of one night and then had 1 or 2 shows off?
Yes, so I had, there was 2 groups going, so we had one night off and then we were performing the other night. So as a 7-year-old, it was a pretty amazing experience.
And in that you had to be on that square or that number, or you had to be in the right place for the light to hit you at the right time?
Yeah, I don't know how, looking back on it, I don't know how I did it, because when I'm teaching 7-year-olds, I just go, they can't even stand in the one spot for that long. So it's really, really quite amazing how it all worked out.
No, look, I think the truth is, certainly in your case, you were sort of born to be a performer, so it was sort of a natural thing, I guess, to do that.
Yeah.
So after doing that, what happened?
So after that, I met a lot of people and...
because there were quite a few from the Johnny Young Talent School then.
That's right.
As I recall.
Yes, and that's where I found out about that talent school, and I went there from 7 till later on in my life, and that's where I learnt how to...
And you're teaching there now as well?
Yes, yeah. So I...
It's not called Johnny Young anymore, it's Mighty Good now.
Yeah, so I learnt all those disciplines, jazz, tap, ballet, hip-hop, contemporary, all of that. So that was beautiful.
But you've recently been working with a group of young performers as well. Yes,
I'm in a kids group called Boom Stars, all original songs, and we actually performed around Australia. But yes, it's quite a unique experience getting to perform to thousands of children.
It is, because really it's a bit like the Wiggles show, but it's quite a different concept.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
So what did you want to do when you grew up?
Perform. That's all I wanted to do. Full stop.
You and your sister Letitia.
Yes,
who's in Melbourne.
Yes, yeah.
And she's a fantastic actor as well. So you come from a family of... Well, actually, you come from a sort of a show business family, don't you? Because your dad was a manager of a club.
Yes.
Your mum?
She was a model. And so she was very familiar with the camera and all of that. She did calisthenics as well, but... Yeah, Dad could sing, but it was a hidden talent. And we actually grew up all learning the MGM musicals that was played throughout.
Did you?
Yeah, that was played throughout our entire childhood. So that's how it all really began. And that's why I went to that open call audition. And that's kind of where the talents flourished. So
Yes, you've got to have that opportunity to believe in yourself, I guess.
Absolutely.
To say, yes, I'm actually good enough to do this.
Yeah.
Because somebody picked me to do it.
That's right.
Like they did to play Cinderella. So just tell us a bit about the story, because Andrew Lloyd Webber's now got a version of Cinderella in the West End of London, and there's just recently been the release of a new film.
Yes.
So there's a Disney film of Cinderella,
Yes.
and there's this new film of Cinderella that's sort of a modern take. Is this a modern take?
No, I do believe it's the more older version, which it's the timeless classic version, I find. The two ugly sisters, the stepmother.
That are played by boys.
Yes,
Yeah.
played by boys, which is quite hilarious. I do have a best friend called Buttons.
Who we're going to meet in a little while.
Yes, we are. So that's a different take. But in terms of everything else, the fairy godmother, the prince, they're all in there. So.
But Cinderella's a little bit more of an independent woman in this, because times have changed, I guess, since these sort of English-style pantos occurred. It's not really an English panto, though, is it? It's more of an Australianised version.
Yes, there are some little puns all throughout that are Australian that the audience will get.
Well, it's not just for kids?
No, not at all. Adults will be laughing from start to finish. Absolutely.
So it's a good night out or a good day out, whichever time you go to see it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important to have these sort of iconic characters like a Cinderella? What would that do for a young girl?
Well, I believe that the Cinderella story has beautiful little morals through it. To be kind, despite everything that's being thrown at you. And I believe that it's just a beautiful story that a kid should enjoy watching.
Well, that would be mostly for girls. What about boys?
Oh, well, again...
It's funny.
Yeah, it is. It is hilarious.
Yeah, and it's got some naughty stuff that boys will absolutely get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to come back in a minute with the young man who's playing Buttons. It's his first show out. It's not your first show. This isn't hard for you fitting in with the company, but I guess it is. So we'll ask him about that, how difficult it is, fitting in with a group of people that are just used to doing this and allowed and carry on without it. What I haven't asked you about is the costumes, because that's always one of those things that people want to know about.
Yes.
So there's always the dress.
The dress is in there. It's blue and it's sparkly, and it is the Cinderella dream dress.
The big dress.
Big dress.
The other thing that goes with it is...
the glass slippers. And they're in there too. So it is, I love getting dressed up.
Hard to dance in glass slippers?
Maybe a little bit, but my partner's pretty good, so...
Your partner's a ballet dancer and
an
actor, yeah.
He is, so he makes me float.
He makes you like that.
Absolutely.
I must remember to watch you float.
Yes.
No stage effects, just
Nope.
real muscle power.
Correct.
Okay, well, we'll be back in just a moment with the young man who's actually playing Buttons, who's Cinderella's best friend. We'll see you in a tick. Welcome back to OurTime. Our guests are Talia Monahan, and we've just been joined by Buttons.
Hello, Malcolm.
Michael Evans.
Yes.
Hello, Michael Evans.
Hello, Malcolm.
Michael, this is interesting for you because this is your first professional show, isn't it?
Indeed it is, yes.
And has it been difficult?
Well, I would definitely be wrong if I said it wasn't. I suppose that's just because everyone in Cinderella has at least 10 years on me.
Yes, so you're the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you've been doing stuff, you've been learning for a long time. When did you start?
So when I was really young, 3 and stuff, I suppose, I did, just those little things that you do.
Which
when you're
are?
3. I don't know, it's I did
sing
a
in
little
front
bit
of the family?
Yeah, I did a little bit of dance classes when I was 3.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but...
No, Talia teaches 3-year-olds, in fact, younger ones as well.
18 months.
We'll have to talk about that in a minute. That's really interesting.
But I really got into, I suppose, the performing arts when I was 8 years old. So
Right.
that's 7 years ago.
And was it difficult? Because a lot of boys get flack at school if they learn to dance or sing or perform. Has that ever affected you?
Not at all, actually.
Why not?
I suppose the school I go to it's very accepting in the part. We actually we put on like a cabaret show every year.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I choreographed some dance for that last year.
Oh, good on you. Because you won an award this year, didn't you?
I did. At the Mighty Good Talent School, I won the Student of the Year award.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's
Thank you
brilliant.
very much.
So did you have to audition for this role? Because in most cases you do.
I actually didn't.
Right.
So to get this role, I was approached by the director of the show, and essentially I was offered the role, and I said yes.
Well, now, Buttons is a character dressed as a bellboy, usually. Are you doing that in the traditional costume?
Yes, I am. I think it's quite a nice costume. It's all blue.
Okay.
Buttons, nice hat.
Buttons. Well, that's why it's called Buttons, I guess. And you get to sing and dance in the show?
Yes.
Right. So how much did you know about this type of entertainment before?
Well, I have to be honest, not very much
Not very
at
much.
all.
Had you ever seen like a panto-y type show?
Oh, probably not the traditional type
Right.
of panto, yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of gone, Talia, hasn't it? We see a lot of, everyone's trying to be modern and inventive, but the old stories probably that you grew up with, and certainly I grew up with, you know what the outcome's going to be, but the story or the journey of getting there can be a little bit more twisty and turny than we heard when we were young, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be able to play a role like this?
Oh, it means everything. I love princesses.
Okay, because
yeah.
you've got, this is another side to
Yeah.
you. You've got another whole thing going on with princesses.
Yes, I do. I have a business that provides princess entertainment for children. So I'm a big believer in the stories and what they can bring to little children.
Is it because it gives them something to look up to, do you think?
Yeah, I believe so. As I said, there's some beautiful morals behind each of those stories, and in particular Cinderella. And so that's why this character does mean a lot to me. And I can relate to her a lot in so many ways.
Does your mother make you scrub the floor?
No, she wishes though.
So, Michael, have you become sort of a servant at home because of this? Have you been practising?
Not really, to be honest.
No, you mean your mum's your servant? Is that... it's the other way around?
I wouldn't say that. I put in an effort.
Well, you just said before that you're very independent.
Yes.
How does your independence come out? Are you focused on what you want to achieve?
Yes, I am.
Which is?
Really. I was thinking about this the other day. I was saying I don't really know what I want to do in the future. I probably want to go and study at university. Not sure what, but what I do know is that I really want to keep the performing arts in my life in some sort of way in the future, definitely.
Is it hard because, I guess, just talking to both of you, and you've got an age difference between you, but everybody says you've got to have a real job. But is this your real job?
It is.
Yeah.
And for you, do you feel that you'd be comfortable doing this? Because, Michael, these days, all performers are more or less expected to go through a university course of some description. And most unis all around Australia have university courses for performers. Back when I was young, nothing like this ever existed. You had to find a job before you even got to understand what the role was. But back in my day, people more or less started in like church activities, and they don't exist to the same degree that they used to. I mean, there's singing and stuff, but there's not necessarily, to my knowledge, the putting on of these type of shows. What have you experienced, Michael, so far? Like with the school things that you've done?
With the school things? Well, there hasn't been all that much, really.
Is it once a year type thing?
Yeah, it's once a year we put on either a song and dance show or a play, or like, I think it's 3 plays actually. When I was younger, choir was compulsory
Right.
for all
Actually, I
students
think
in
that's
year
good.
two,
I think I think it's important that people learn how to sing and how to connect their hearing with their vocal cords, sort of thing, and breathing, because then it makes you enjoy music so much better, and you can sing along. And when you sing in the shower, you don't sound out of tune. Because you sing well too, but your voice, I think, is just broken, hasn't it? You've just gone from a boy soprano down to a man's voice.
Yeah, definitely.
So in the show, which do you sing in?
Probably my deep voice. Yeah.
Because, well, how old are you? We didn't establish
15.
that.
I'm 15 years old.
So this is really a big change in your life now.
Yes, definitely.
To go into something like this. So I've asked you what you want to do later. The old saying is, what do you want to do when you grow up? And usually when you ask somebody at 15 years of age, the answer should be, how would I know? I'm only 15 years old. But as you said, you sort of would like to work within the industry as a performer, as a singer, dancer, or producer, director, writer. Where do you feel you might go?
Well...
Is that like asking how long is a piece of string?
Well, I suppose the thing I have the most experience in is as a performer. But I will be honest, I'm only 15. So there's a lot of places I could go.
No, brilliant.
Yeah.
And Talia, you have, because you've had the opportunity to work with the group. Now, there were 3 girls and a boy who was a hip-hop performer, which made the group quite different to the usual kids, you know, sing along with me. And Gita Prey was your manager and wrote most of the songs for you?
Yes, and he raps as well, so...
Not Gita.
No, Josh, he rapped, which gave us a different spin.
Completely different spin. What does it feel like to you when you're up on stage and you see that audience of faces out there watching you? Do you feel you're doing it for them or for you? I
think both. I love the idea of performing it and the rush that it gives me. Fills you with endorphins, you know that feeling. But then seeing the kids' faces loving your music, singing your songs, even just admiring what you're doing and then asking for photos because they've loved what they've seen is a pretty euphoric experience.
Well, you've carried that through because, as I just said, you're teaching kids from such a young age. How do you feel that sort of fits in with their lifestyle, and what advice would you give to a young mum or dad who's got a child who shows promise or sings and dances in front of the TV or whatever they do?
Well, I actually believe that every parent should be putting their kid into dance classes as soon as they can walk. So that's the reason why we offer classes from 18 months because it gives them a sense of rhythm, coordination, and they don't have to be gifted at that age. It's just giving those life skills. And then when they have a bit more of an understanding of what they want to do, then you can, you know, diversify out.
It's a bit like learning to swim, isn't it, really? To have that skill within your sort of your pack of skills.
Yeah.
It means you can socialise better and...
Absolutely, and it's the confidence building that's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Where do you find the material, like the songs and the...
Spotify, I use a lot. I just, I search. And so it come from my childhood as well.
Right.
Again, there's classic songs that never age, so, yeah.
Do you remember doing anything like that? Those sort of little kids' songs?
A little bit, yes, but I wasn't totally involved back then.
As a boy?
Yeah.
Because it was a girls' thing, did you...
Not really.
But when you're that age, there are sort of things girls do and the things boys do.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't start till about 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I love it so much because I honestly have such a mixed bag. I've got boys and girls and it doesn't matter. Parents
it's just
are bringing
everybody
them.
has fun. Yeah. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We'll just wrap up with our story on Cinderella. Our guests on Our Time are Talia Monahan and Michael Evans. And we were just talking to Michael about, is he going to suggest that his school friends come along to see the show?
Well, I'll be honest, I hope they won't because they're going to laugh at me. But I suppose that's the idea.
Well, it's the idea because it's a funny show.
It's a funny show.
And you got some funny stuff in the show, haven't you?
I do a little bit.
You ride a horse.
Yeah. Oh, I love the horse.
There you go.
I get to
What
ride
more
a horse.
could you want?
I know. Exactly.
And explaining how that works would be interesting, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to tell you about it?
Yes, well,
horse.
Exactly. Talia, for you, in your sort of journey through life, what do you feel is your next big opportunity? What are you thinking about or working with? You're in a sort of a kids pop group.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing a major role in the show. You're running a business of princesses that go out and sort of interact with people at birthday parties and shopping malls and things.
Mm-hmm.
What's your next big?
That's a big question, Malcolm.
Are you working on something? Or do I have to have you back on the show later at another time to tell us?
Yes, I have lots of things up my sleeve that are to do with children's entertainment, so you will have to just have me back on to talk about what's coming up.
Okay. So just to wrap up, how would you tell people about this show that you're doing? How would you sell it?
It's a timeless classic, but it is a family show which parents can come and enjoy, adults can come and enjoy, and children will love it because of all the funniness and the jokes that are throughout.
Yeah, it's really like handing down something that you enjoyed as a kid to your children or grandchildren, I suppose, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And Michael, because you haven't got children or grandchildren, how would you tell the friends you would like to come to see the show to come and see the show? What would you? How would you explain it?
I would tell them they'd love it. I suppose it's a mix of 2021 with, I suppose, going back quite a few decades.
Yeah, actually, it's probably a century or more since this form of entertainment that connects the audience with political humour, with stories that kids can relate to, and sort of magic effects and fairy tale stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember as a kid here in South Australia, Channel 9 used to do every Christmas, they used to do a Christmas pantomime because, of course, in the UK, Christmas pantomimes are the big thing. So it used to be the on-air personalities would be either Jack and the Beanstalk or Cinderella or Aladdin. They did sort of the traditional stories. And we all used to hang out all year to watch those in living black and white. And they were really special because they had the jokes, because the people that wrote them in those days were from the vaudeville era, and they were introducing their style to the new age of television viewers. So I suppose that's what you're doing with this show. You're introducing a new generation with a lovely old story that's just fun.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope the season goes extremely well for you.
Thank you.
We'd love to hear from you on Our Time. If you've got something that we should know about and we should be able to tell everyone about, then please contact us. Because you can contact us through the station you're watching, or you can just email us. You can also catch up with a lot of our past programs on YouTube. It just comes on YouTube under the title of Our Time TV channel. And so many of the programs from the past you can find there. And in many ways, the program has been, for the last 11 years, a way of connecting with people who have achieved something in Australia, or just some interesting information about things that are worthwhile knowing about. So until next time on Our Time, our very special thanks to Michael and to Talia. Good luck with the show, and we'll see you soon. Keep yourself nice till then. Bye.